so active.
All right. Welcome to Friday Fish Facts. I'm your host, Ron DeSantis. I've known Justin here for about half an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm in his house. So there you go, Justin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So I know Justin through a mutual friend and other like fish groups that we've been on together on Facebook. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to like come to his house and check out his African cichlids, since I don't have any African cichlids. And Justin, how long have you been keeping fish?
So I've probably had fish since I was 5 years old. I'd say my dad had fish, so I always had fish tanks. And then my dad had moved out and left some fish tanks when I was probably 12.
Okay.
So now I had a few more fish tanks, and that turned into obviously more fish tanks. But yeah, I used to spend our days riding our bikes down to the fish store when I was a kid, buying fish, all that, and Poco. So yeah, that's when it all started.
That's cool. So what would you say now is your absolute favorite fish?
Well, now I like the Africans, obviously. There's certain ones in there that are my favorite, so I don't really have a particular favorite fish, but I would say species is Africans.
Cool. Well, I'm just going to kind of say hi to a few people in the chat here. We've got Denny's Fish Tanks, Brandon, Mr. B is here, Cameron Learning to Fish Keep, Dan Slee is here, Freshwater Joe, and Fantastic Hobbies. How's it going, guys? Thanks for stopping in. So today we're doing something a little bit different. Normally I've been doing the interview of a YouTuber for an hour and we go through questions like that, and I thought let's change it up this week. Let's go to somebody's house and we're going to tour through their tanks. Now, Justin's got 2 tanks, so we're going to go through those tanks, and he's got a quarantine tank in his garage. But he's had a lot of fish keeping experience in his life, and he knows a ton about fish. So I think we should, I'm going to grab that camera, and let's start going through, you want to go through this tank first?
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll go through and we'll look at what type of fish he's got. I mean, he's got plants, he's got some jungle val in here. So we'll talk to him about plants with African cichlids. And we'll talk about his setup, and let's get after it. I'll say hello to a few other people here. David is here, and Rymax Cichlids with D-Smoke. Okay, so what do we got? What kind of fish do we got in here?
So most of these are haps and peacocks from Lake Malawi. I don't have any Mabuna, so there's 3 species in that lake. There is also some Tanganicans, like the Petricolas.
Yeah.
And then a few other randoms, like the clown loaches.
Oh, they're beautiful.
And the botillas. The clown loaches are the wife's favorite.
Yeah, they're my favorite fish.
So I had a snail problem years ago.
Yeah.
And so I introduced a group of 6 clown loaches to get rid of the trumpet snails.
Yeah.
And it worked. It got rid of them, and I've kept them since. And they do quite well with the Africans.
So you got the yo-yo loaches in there too?
Yeah, those are actually out of my mom's tank.
Okay.
My mom passed away last year when I shut down her tank. I found those in there. I kind of forgot I bought them, so I kept them for that reason and named them after my mother. So.
Oh, that's sweet. That's nice. Hey Kendall, how's it going? Lacey's Place, hello. What's this one that we're looking at right here?
So that is an OB peacock, they call it. Short for orange blotch peacock.
That's a beauty. And you said 11 Petricolas in here?
Yeah, there's 11 Petricolas in there. 5 different plecos.
Okay, I think I saw the green phantom earlier.
So the green phantom is the most active, I would say.
Oh, he's big too.
Yeah, he's quite big.
Was he small when you got him?
Yeah, he's quite a bit smaller.
Okay.
There's the gold spot in there, which I can just see him behind the wood. You probably won't be able to catch him. He's in the gap there, I saw.
Oh, let's see, where is it?
Yeah, they like the middle wood piece there.
So, did you buy this wood piece?
No, so this piece I found down at the river, down at the Pit River.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go walk along there and search for driftwood.
So what kind of wood do you use, would you recommend for beginner fish keepers if they're just going to collect their own?
So always looking for something that's hard, so it's not going to get overly soft and mushy. You don't want rotten wood off the start. You know, I always soak it first to make sure there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
I do a bleach mix, or dilute a bit of bleach and soak the wood in the bleach to get rid of anything that's on it.
Rymax says he's surprised those predator haps don't kill everything in here.
They coexist fairly well.
Do you have problems with aggression in here?
Yes. So right now, no. When I introduce new fish, yes.
Okay.
So I've come up with ways to kind of fight that, and I don't turn off the lights for 3, 4, 5 days.
Oh, really?
So I find with Africans, if you turn the lights off, they bask. They go down to their spots in the lake.
Yeah.
Or the lake in the tank, so they all bask down at the bottom. So a new fish that comes in doesn't know where to go. So as he goes by each fish, they all nip at him. And eventually he gets stressed out and then dies. So now I leave the lights on for probably about 4 days. If I turn them off and I find they beat them up, then I'll put them back on for another day or two.
Yeah.
And that I find curbs the aggression with new fish. I also will put up a black piece that covers a corner because they tend to go up to the top corners.
Yeah.
And that way they can get out of the eyesight of other fish. And then usually within a week, the other fish accept them to the group.
Cool. So what's the secret? How can you keep the crypt and the jungle val alive in here?
So the jungle val does grow in Lake Malawi. It's one of the only plants that grows in the lake. So they will tolerate the higher pH and KH. So that I don't have a problem with. Lighting obviously plays a factor of whether they're going to go. The crypt, I would say, isn't doing the greatest. I added it probably 2 months ago to my other tank.
That looks pretty good.
So it's you know, the leaves are wrinkling a little bit, but I just like the natural look, right? So
Yeah.
I don't mind adding plants. If they don't work, then I'll try something else. The jungle val I've had in my African tanks for probably 5 years, so I knew that one works. I have tried anubias before. You know, some plants grow well for others and don't grow good for other people, right? It all.
Welcome, thank you once again. So what do we got for substrate in here, Justin? I see some snails in here too.
Yeah, so the snails, unfortunately, the clown loach has got the bigger neorites. Over time, they hunt them down and get them.
Yeah.
But for substrate, I have carob sea African mix.
Yeah.
And then I do have crushed coral mixed amongst it.
Okay, it's a beautiful. It's a beautiful.
pH up.
Yeah. I assume our tap water is the same. Mine's 7.2 out of the tap. Yours is probably.
Yeah, so mine's around there. I do add, because the size of water changes I do, which is 50% once a week, I have to add some sort of a buffer to keep it up higher. It will drop.
So let's get into this tank a little. What do you have for filter?
So for filter, I have, it's kind of a double sump.
You've got the heater in the filter there.
Yeah, so you have a filter sock that the water comes down and across. So I have a 2,500 gallon per hour return pump. I also have 36 watt UV sterilizer in here that you see a power head's hung attached to that brings water across.
Yeah.
I have the Eheim Professional 4 in the middle there. And then on this side,
there's the Eheim right there.
there's the Eheim. So on this side, this is a trickle filter with bio balls and then also submerged bio. So I do grow both types of bacteria. So one type of bacteria grows with oxygen and water. The other type grows fully underwater. So this style filter, I'm doing both types of bacteria.
I got a question here from Terry Lindsay saying he's had success with moving rocks and other aquascape around. Is that something that you would like to comment on?
Yeah, so a lot of people say that that works for them. I unfortunately can't move these rocks around. They weigh 60, 70 pounds each. So I can't be moving stuff around all the time. So I've found other ways, like I said, leaving the lights on, putting a little black divider up at the top. But a lot of people have said they've had success over the years with moving around. So it confuses the fish. So they lose their territory and then now have to find a new one. So yes, that does work. I just can't do that in my situation.
And you got a wave maker over here?
Yep, so I have the J bow of one, wave maker, just to get water movement going. I find it makes them swim around a little bit more.
Okay.
A little bit more water movement the more they swim.
What's up, Rob93, Aquafunk? Thanks for stopping in, my friends. And what kind of lights have you got going on up here?
So I have current LED, 2 current LEDs, the freshwater planted ones, and then I have 4 T5s, 2 with aquaflora bulbs and 2 with 10,000 K bulbs.
Oh yeah.
My own kind of homemade hood there.
Cool.
I had other LEDs, but they unfortunately burnt out over 5 years, so I had to switch over to something else.
In case we didn't mention it yet, this is a 210 Aqueon. It's a beautiful tank, man. And you got the stand, new stand and everything.
There's also some fancier things going with the underneath. So to do a water change,
yeah,
I just open a valve.
Okay, yeah, that was the next question. How do you do a water change on this?
So I got a red valve right here. Water goes down into the hallway sink, drain.
Did you do all the plumbing yourself?
Yeah, my buddy's a plumber. So that's how I drain it. To fill it, which I don't have it hooked up right now, but I have a hose and a shower. So I just take the hose and I hang it up and it comes off to here for my water.
Cool. So you dump your prime in before you add all the water?
So I don't have to do prime, I have a full house dechlorinator. So
oh, okay.
All the water in my house is dechlorinated.
Oh, cool.
So I don't use prime anymore, which is nice to not be adding all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a full stand-up water conditioner unit in the garage there.
That's cool. Now you were kind of hesitant about showing the other tank, but it's a beautiful tank.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. It's in progress again. I had hydro that was growing out of the top. And unfortunately last year, it was probably, I think I had it for 6 or 7 years, the hydro, and it grew purple flowers and all that. It got powder mildew on it and it wiped it out last year. So I'm in the middle of trying to regrow plants that the guys can see here that are growing out of the top of the water.
Fishy Biz Aquatics, what's going on? So yeah, you've got the Denison barbs you've sold, right?
Yeah, they've outgrown their home.
And then you've got 3 discus?
4 discus.
4 discus. 2 turquoise?
Yeah.
Where's the 4th one?
They hide. Always over on this side. So I had the 2 blue ones originally. So they seem to not be as skittish as the other 2. The other 2 I've had for maybe 2 months. They kind of control the tank a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think because they were in there first, kind of established the territory. But they're getting along more and more. And most times they're out. Just those 2 like to hide. I don't know why. They're more of a redline torpedo barb.
Yeah.
But I think some of them people are calling them a gold. But they do have the red, like the pigment of an albino fish.
Yeah, they do.
And like I was saying to you, they've both gone blind. So I don't know if that's anybody else that has these have had that happen to them. They're the only 2 I bought. I joined them to join this, or bought them to join this group of fish, and they haven't because they're blind and they can't see.
Right.
So they don't. They can't stick with them. So I'll probably get rid of them too to somebody that's looking for a special needs fish, I guess. But you know, they do fine. They find food. I've had them for probably 6 months. The big red lines I've maybe had for 2 years, I think.
Okay, that's cool.
Originally I had 6 over time. 1 jumped out, so I don't have tops on my tanks. And
you got a female Praecox rainbow there.
Yeah.
So what kind of plants do you have in here?
So it's mostly just hygro and then crypts.
What's that on the back by the filter?
That's another type of hygro.
Yeah, I've got that. But
Yeah.
I just got it actually from a local guy here.
The shorter one like this, that's in the really low, that one grows like wildfire, and it's a really good beginner plant for people because it does grow so fast. Doesn't require a lot of light.
Yeah.
With CO2, it grows almost too much. So
hey, Tampatom.
it's a really good beginner plant for people.
And you got some crypts in here. And you had CO2. Here's your CO2 setup right here.
Yeah, so my CO2 ran out a while ago, and I just haven't got around to getting it filled up again.
You got a loach in here too.
Yeah, there's a breeding pair of bristle noses in there as well. And there's 3 horse face loaches they call them.
Oh, cool.
Those guys dig. So they actually dig under the gravel, which isn't the best for a plant to tank.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know when I bought them.
Yeah.
But they dig and then they'll just hang their little head up.
And what kind of substrate is that?
So that is, God, it's been so long. I'm trying to think. Fluorite. Who makes the fluorite?
Oh, yeah. Fluval, right?
Fluval makes
Stratum.
Fluorite was made
Maybe
by,
it's Seca?
I can't remember now. It's meant for plants as well.
Yeah.
It's not clay based though, so it doesn't create muck like a lot of the stratum does and all that.
Right.
It's more of like an actual gravel, but yeah,
Cool.
We'd have to look up who made that. I've had it for years.
Hey, Cichlids 23, what's going on? And what kind of filter? You got an Eheim?
So I got an Eheim as well on this one.
Canister?
Canister.
The same one? Oh.
Yeah, same one.
Nice.
I got away from the other canisters.
A powder.
I found some of them would leak. So
which ones were leaking?
So the Rena I've had leak a bunch of times because if there's any pressure on the hoses, it leaks past the O-rings. So I ended up getting rid of them. The Fluval I had for years, it also started to leak.
The FX6?
No,
the 4?
the FX6, I had a 5. I never had any problems with the 5. It was actually a great filter. The 406 and the 306, the O-ring goes on them around the main case there, and then it leaks out the cord. So I got rid of those as well, and now I've had pretty good success with the Eheims. I know a lot of guys have, so I've stuck with that.
Cool. And what kind of light you got on here?
So that I just have a double T5s, homemade, old canopy, retrofitted. I used to have a really nice LED on here, and as well, it burnt out over time. And then I can just never find any replacements that I'm happy with that are equivalent. So I just go back to the old T5 bulbs that seem to work well.
Looks awesome. Hawaiian Peacock, what's going on, man? Riley, Fish Keeping Jamaica, how are you, man? Okay, well, does anybody have, as we scroll back over, oh, hello. As we go back over to the 210 here. Oh, Captain 3654, hello. Has anybody got any questions for Justin here? Because this guy knows a ton. Not just in African cichlids. This guy knows his fish keeping. So if you guys have any questions for him, feel free to ask. We're going to do a feeding, yeah. Yeah, his Africans are knife, man. Is that a spectacles in the lower right corner?
Which one?
Lower right corner.
Where did he go? I think he moved. I think, yes, what they were asking.
Oh, yeah. And you're soaked.
Ever since I switched to building on the island's feeding schedule, these guys have gotten so much hungrier. Like, so you're adding a bunch of amino acids and other stuff to your pellets and pre-soaking them.
Yeah.
So ever since I've gone to that, which is probably about a month ago, like how much water just came out, that didn't happen like that before. Ever since I switched over to this food, it's almost they like it so much.
Yeah.
They go just crazy when I feed them now. Another problem.
Hawaiian Peacock's asking, what's your favorite African cichlid? He'll let you have a favorite hat, peacock, and Mabuna.
So, well, I don't know if he's my tank boss, which would be one of my favorite fish. I haven't seen too many people with this guy. He's called the Malawi thicklip.
Okay,
sorry, I forget some of the names of their proper names, but he'll come out. He's in the back here. I'll tell you when he comes out. He's probably one of my favorite fish in here, just because I haven't seen too many people with him.
I got a few more questions here. What was that food again? 3 people are asking.
So I feed New Life Spectrum.
Yeah, so do I actually.
But then I soak the food in other foods. So if you want, I can go get those. I soak them with, I think, 5 other products.
Oh, cool.
Which are actually funny things like reef roids, which is for coral.
Yeah.
So there's, I guess, amino acids and stuff that are in the reef food.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff that I add, let it soak in there. I make enough to last me a week.
Mm-hmm.
And so I keep it in the fridge. And so each day when I come out and feed, I already have it made. I don't have to pre-soak the food anymore. So I'll grab that after so we can show you guys what I am feeding them.
Sure. Got a couple more questions in here. How much flow in the tank do your Africans like? Do you get enough from just the filters?
So I didn't find that I get enough from just the filters. I have added power heads. I added quite a big power head that I have turned down, that J-Bow, I think it's the 40. It moves quite a bit of water. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do have a 2,500 gallon per hour return pump, but it does return some of the water to my trickle filter. So I didn't find it to be enough. What I think, if you don't have a lot of the food settles after you feed, and I think that can be a good and bad thing. Mm-hmm. Then you don't have much debris floating around because it tends to sit. I have found that because I do have a lot of water movement, it's stirring up the bottom a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also good too because that's not building up in my tank anymore, right? So I think there's a happy medium. One of the problems I've had is flow and trying to get the flow so that it does get picked up by the sump there, by the overflow. I prefer, if I was going to do Africans again, I would say I would do canisters again. I used to have 3 canisters in my African tank. They just create way too much mess, and then the food sits on the bottom. Now my grill on my overflow is pretty big. It's 20 inches, but it's only really skimming off the surface, right? So that's why I added the E-Hind to try to get the pipe down so that I could pick up some of the stuff off the bottom.
What kind of African cichlid would you recommend aside from Mabunas?
Well, I think it depends on what level you're at. Mabunas are a great starter African cichlid, right? But you also want to do 1 male to say 3 or 4 females, right? So if you don't know that and you just buy your random Mabunas from pet, wherever, and you don't know what they are, then you're probably going to get fights as you get a bunch of different males. Now with the peacocks and haps, a lot of people start with just the peacocks as they are easier, a little more docile, right? 2 males obviously are going to fight most likely, so I've gone with no females in my tank for that reason. If there is a female in there, she can make the males, so that'll get them.
Somebody was asking if you had all males in here.
So yeah, there's no female fish in there that I'm aware of. Sometimes you buy one and it turns out that it is a female if it's smaller. But yes, I've stayed away from that. So I think, a lot of people are scared of getting into the Africans, and I don't think they're that hard. They're very hardy fish. They do like to eat a lot, so filtration is going to be huge for you. Water changes, like I said, I do 110 gallons a week. Every Sunday I do a water change. You can notice if you don't, the water quality, you can see the color in it.
You don't have a ton of plants soaking up stuff.
No, and that's the thing. The Mabunas do eat plants, so that can be a problem if you have Mabunas. Some of them do eat plants. But I think if you start with just some of the peacocks, would work. Some of the predator haps, maybe stay away from at the start, as they do get big and can eat other fish.
So if you ever want to get rid of these clown loaches.
They're actually, I don't particularly like them because they free swim, meaning they don't stay along the bottom very often. But like I said, my wife really likes them, so that's kind of been my keep them. I've had them for probably 4 years. They're such slow growers that you can see why when you see one that's huge, people want $100 for it because it probably took them 15 years to grow it to that.
So obviously you're not planning on breeding Africans because that was a question here. How do you feel about all the African cichlid hybrids?
So me personally, I don't have a problem with hybrids at all. I've had hybrids over the years. Sometimes they can turn out to be beautiful fish. I think the only downfall to hybrids is that people that do that and then have nowhere to, don't have anything to do with them. So they get rid of them, right? And what happens is they bring them to our local fish stores, and then now the local fish stores are full of these hybrid Africans. They don't want to bring in Africans because nobody buys Africans. So I think that's the only downfall to hybrids. Other than that, they turn into beautiful fish, some of them, right? So I mean, the OB peacock that we showed earlier, that orange blotch, that is a hybrid. That's where you get the blotches from, is 2 different peacocks breeding. So there can be some really beautiful hybrids, but I think for the most part, it's best not to be trading them into our local fish stores so that we're not they're not overrun in their stores with these hybrids that nobody wants.
Is this your biggest fish?
So yes, he's the biggest and the oldest.
And how big is he?
Yeah, I mean, he must be 8 inches. He's a big boy. They get bigger than that. Get quite a bit bigger than that. That's a Protomollus, I think Liuli.
Okay, what kind of African cichlids would you not recommend?
I would say I would not recommend any. I think people just need to do their research on the ones that they are putting in the tank, right? So if you are going to do the Mabunas, which I have set up a tank at my cousin's house here, we're making sure that we're doing 1 male, 3 or 4 females, because that is the biggest problem with the Africans, is putting too many males in there that just don't get along.
What's that one?
So that's a Malawi trout.
Oh yeah.
So he gets.
Somebody was commenting they recognized the trout.
Yeah, you can see all the debris now that's going to float around in this tank for about a half an hour. The water just from them. They blow a lot of it out of their gills, which is why I'm liking this new food, because I'm finding I can feed less because they're getting the nutrition out of less food than giving them more food.
Question from Learning to Fish Keep. Why did you choose to have African cichlids? So much work with these guys, it seems like.
So I guess I had the planted tank. I've had everything but. And the first fish tank I bought on my own, I was 14 years old. It was a 48-gallon from Perky's Pets, it was called, in New Westminster, which eventually became Rogers for all BC people. Became Rogers Pets. So he used to be called the African Cichlid warehouse. So I think that's when I got my first taste of Africans, but I never bought any. And the reason being was because everybody said how hard they were to keep. And I found the total opposite. So eventually I thought to myself, you know what, let's try this African thing and see what happens. And I fell in love with them ever since. This tank I've had up, the one I had before was 110, so I moved it out and put this one in. So I've had Africans now for 6 years. And I don't find them that hard to keep. I mean, there is a bit of extra maintenance that goes along with them. Yeah. But the colors you get, the personality you get, you just don't find in other fish.
A few more people here. Hello, Melvin, Legacy Aquatics. What's going on? Jesse, HC Aqua, thanks for stopping in, man. So yeah, you had the 110 before here, and you've done the planted tank. I assume you've done like the guppy thing.
Yeah, I mean, we all started with that, right? And I don't mind that, you know, that's another, to each their own on what they like. I just like the personality of the Africans. When you walk by, they always want to be fed, which can be, you know, downfall because people will overfeed them. But yeah, they've been a very exciting fish for me, and I'm not tired of them yet.
Tampa Tom, will those cichlids eat roots from pothos?
Roots from?
Sure.
I'm not sure. So they will eat the roots. If they see roots of a plant, they will dig them up. These guys still do eat a little bit of plants. I have seen the odd guy mowing on them. That Venustus here, the giraffe. He tends to eat a little bit of...
Even my tiger barbs eat the roots if they're exposed.
So I've seen him eating the leaf of the jungle val.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dwight, K-Town Reefer. That is Kelowna. K-Town Reefer is in the house. Oh. See, I've never had these, so it's a pleasure for me to come and check out someone else's tank. Well, then I just have to add. I can't subtract. I just add tanks.
Well, that's, you know, when I stopped buying juveniles, I buy now colored males.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend the $60 on a colored male than try to grow some out. I used to do the grow out thing, which can be rewarding as well, right?
And you get a better price.
Yeah, you get a better price, but I found sometimes in the end, you know, it's harder to keep younger fish. It's just easier, so I fly a lot of these in, either from the island. We've done, over the years, Dave's out and, you know, wherever he goes, Dave's Rare Fish. We've done a bunch over the years, group orders with other people. So that's where I get most of my fish. But I do go into fish stores all the time locally. And, you know, you may find that one random one that's there that you really like. So I do find some fish like that. But most of the fish I have, I either do research, I read online before I buy it. You know, I Google it, make sure it's going to be compatible with my fish. If it says extremely aggressive, I'm not putting it in there. I did just get rid of a Malawi hawk because he was trying to kill fish that were in the bags.
Oh, wow.
Floating.
Yeah.
He was biting through the bags. And so I ended up getting rid of him. He was just a fish like that is too big of a predator. He was going after anything smaller. So, you know, having to let go of a fish that I had for 6 months was beautiful. But at the same time, he was going to limit me from having any smaller fish. So that is the downfall with Afton. So here's my one that I was saying, the Malawi thick lip in the middle here, the blue. So he's the blue that you're seeing in the back.
Hawk, aka the Malawi murderer.
No, so that's what somebody said. Yeah, oh yeah. So that's a Malawi thick lip. I can't remember his actual name. He's the tank boss.
Cool.
I did a big water change today, so they're kind of acting a little funny. Wanted the tank looking nice for everybody.
They don't go after the little petricolas.
No, you know what? Even the Malawi hawk never went after the petricolas. So the petricolas come from Lake Tanganyika, which you probably already know, but some of your people here probably don't, which is one of the 3 big lakes in Africa.
Right, and I keep these guys in my planted tank.
Yeah, and they do well in a planted, smaller, like non-high pH tank as well. The more you have, the better. They school more. You'll see they're more active when you have. If you only have 1 or 2, you rarely see them.
Yeah, beast.
That's the big one from my mom's house there.
Thank you, Tampa Tom, for the $1.99 super chat. I appreciate that. Awesome tank, Tom says.
Thank you.
And I don't even keep cichlids, he says. So the 5, we did go over the 5. We never found the blue phantom, did we?
No,
So we found the green phantom. You had 5 plecos, right?
Yeah.
So there was the blue phantom, the green phantom. Sorry, what were the other 2?
Here's one in the back. So this one I don't know. He's 10 years old. He's on the back rock there. You see him?
Want to take the camera and see if you can
Show you where it is. So let's see him on the back
I see
rock
him.
there. These guys all. So that one I don't know what he is. He's 10 years old.
It looks like an orange spot.
He's somebody named him a while back. You see him when he comes out, his tail kind of forks a little bit.
Oh, okay. He's 10 years old, eh?
Yeah. So he was my buddy's, and then my buddy gave him to me probably 4 or 5 years ago. He had him for 4 or 5 years. He eats a ton of wood. So
he
I
does,
would
eh?
prefer him not to be in here, but I promised my buddy because he's 10 years old that I won't let him go. I'll keep him until
He's
who
done.
knows,
Until he's
maybe I'll
done.
live 20 years. Another odd fish that I have in here that most people wouldn't have in an African tank is silver flying fox.
Yeah, the flying
which
fox.
I've recommended to a bunch of people online for smaller planted tanks.
Yeah.
These guys are cleaning machines.
You recommend them over the Siamese algae eater?
Yeah, so the Siamese is a little different than the silver.
Mm-hmm.
The silver loves beard algae. If you have hair algae in your tank, put one of those in there, and within 2 or 3 days, all the hair algae will be gone in your tank. As you can see, I have no algae in my tank, and he is one of the main reasons of that. He will devour it. And problem with the Siamese is, and I know people buy the Chinese, they get lazy as they get bigger, and
Yeah.
they'll stop eating algae and they eat food. But you can see him, he's constantly...
That's the thing I find with the Siamese algae eater. If you're not starving them, they're going to eat other things.
Yeah.
So then how do you starve them if you have other fish in your
Yeah, so you can't. So switch over to the silver. They call it a Crosso something rictulatus. They are a better version of it. I know a lot of the local stores are carrying them now.
Yeah, I've seen them recently. Got a few more people in here. Rack River Life is here. JZBY Aquatics. Jamie McDonald, what's going on? And KG Cichlids, hello. So we are just hanging out with Justin here. And I see Aquafunk has given Brandon some S for not hitting the like. Way to go, Aquafunk.
See if I
Okay.
There's a new one that I got that's probably one of my favorite. Oh, here. This is called a basket hap. I just got him maybe about a month ago.
Okay.
He's just beautiful.
Let's go with one more quick look at those discus. And then I think we'll, I mean, you got to go to work tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's swing back over to the discus
They're
here.
all still spooked. The 3 are out.
These are, yeah, in case the folks that are just joining. Select Pet saying, what size is the African tank? That is a 210 Aqueon. I love this tank too. He did a beautiful job scaping it. And it's kind of nice you get to still do the plants and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, the tree trunk is actually supposed to be a filter goes in it.
Oh, okay.
King Heads.
Yeah,
normally
I can
comes
tell
with-
it's not real wood.
So no, it's
You might not be able to tell on camera.
it's like yeah, you probably can't on camera. And what I'm hoping eventually is the plants will hide it again.
Right.
But it's more of like ceramic. It's heavy. So what it comes with is a filter goes in it, and then it's to hide your filter. So instead of doing, actually, you know, it'll get these guys to come out. A bloodworm.
Ooh, bloodworm. Okay. Well, you're getting the bloodworm.
Oh, yeah, I have to grab food for people to see.
That's a great question, Select Pet. Did Rob 93 hit that like on his way out? Candy, I know you did. Of course you did. K-Town Reefer, I am over. Dwight, I'm over at Justin Young's house. So if you're in the British Columbia, what's that Facebook group called? The one that you posting a lot?
The BC, yeah, they changed the name of it.
Yeah.
It's BC, I'd have to...
But if you go on there, there's like 2 main BC fish groups, Dwight, and not the one that starts with aquatics, the one that starts with British Columbia.
So British Columbia Aquarium Hobbyists Club.
There you go, that's the one.
And another one that's a bunch of people are on is BC African Cichlids.
Yeah, that's a buy-sell one, though, right? Yeah.
So I'll put this
Passion for Pets, hello.
here for people to see. So this is what I am adding to my food.
We do welcome all nations, River Life. Appreciate. Oh, garlic guard, cool.
So yeah, I soak the food in these 3. There is a 4th product, Vitality.
Yeah.
That the guy that recommends.
Is that for you or the fish?
Yeah, for both of us. We can both drink it.
Cool. And you got a bloodworm out?
I got a bloodworm, so
Okay.
this will get these guys happy at least.
Okay.
There we go.
So I actually don't normally feed my discus bloodworms. I pellet train them. So I had to starve them until they decided they would start to eat the pellet. And the reason why I did that is because we go away a lot.
Yeah.
If you go away, well, how are you going to feed them, right? I don't want somebody coming by every day. So you can, most fish you can do that with. It just takes a bit of time, right? So one of the things you could do is soak the pellets in garlic guard, which is supposed to make it more appetizing. And then eventually they will take to the pellets. So I do feed them bloodworms periodically now. Not as much as it'll be over time. I'll start to increase maybe more bloodworms. But for now, it's a once every 2 weeks treat for them because I don't want them to only want the bloodworms.
For sure, yeah. I only give my fish frozen food. Unless I'm trying to get them to breed. Just the regular community tank, they get it once a week. On the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'll go twice a week, but...
Yeah, the Africans I do a mix. I do like a bloodworm, krill, brine shrimp. I do a huge smorgasbord, and then I dump it in there like that.
Got a few more people. Hello, Don Gallagher. Hello, Emma's Aquatic Adventures. Joseph from JH Aquatics. What's going on? So I think we are going to wind down here. Let me just put that down. Justin, thanks, man.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, pleasure meeting
We
you.
didn't go to the same high school. Although
We did.
We didn't know each other back then. I knew your
Yeah,
brothers.
yeah. Justin thought I was my brother. I came here.
We all look the same. Yeah,
We do look the
I haven't
same.
seen them in 20 years, so I don't know what they look like now, but
Yeah. Well, thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining me. And next week, we're back to the regular format. We've got Kasha from Creative Pet Keeping with us. So, and we've got, actually, this Friday, I've got, you probably know this guy, but I'm doing a crazy video with this guy's fish room, and he's got 27 tanks. He supplies one of our local stores, actually, and his name's Stefan.
I don't know him.
He's got a YouTube channel too called The Average Fish Keeper. So check that one out on Friday, and then next Wednesday we've got Creative Pet Keeping, but we're on 3 hours earlier than normal. So join me next week for another edition.